managing the damage when they mess up, and or the clients complain to me, and I'm the one who has to deal with all those things, even though it's not my fault, and I'm doing my best not to repeat that mistake, but it's repeated, and it's out of my control. And I talk to Nick, and it's like he never gets it. So
Is the lady who has been doing this. Wow.
Surprise.
How did you do all this?
Just keep it secret.
Thank you.
proud.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
She packed her entire life into suitcases and flew from Japan to a country she barely knew to marry a man, to build a life, and to believe that love alone could carry her through. What she didn't pack was the weight she was already carrying: a broken home, a shattered sense of self-worth, the quiet, suffocating voice that told her she wasn't enough. She landed in Kenya with all of it hidden inside her chest, and nobody could see it, not even the man she married.
I think when the second born was about one day we got called to the headmaster's office, and the headmaster says, sorry, but your jobs are being advertised as of tomorrow or next week or something like that, and you are free to apply for it, but we can't promise you anything because we are restructuring the whole thing. So it was really out of blue.
This is the story of Yuka, a woman from Japan who moved to Kenya 15 years ago. She thought marriage would be simple, but life had other plans. From broken homes to marriage struggles, from demanding jobs to unexpected layoffs, Yuka and her husband Nick face challenges most people can't imagine.
Please just introduce yourself, and then we are doing a test here as we go on, and then you can talk about something about yourself.
My name is Yuka, and I come from Japan, and I've lived in Kenya for the past 15 years. I'm married to Nick, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, so those 15 years, tell us something about marriage hacks and what we were talking about. Just open.
So the 15 years, it's not been so easy. There are good times and bad times, and initially it was hard because I come from a broken home, and then you have all this baggage that you are carrying, and your self-esteem is low. Everything's more that Nick does is like, you hate me, you forget to buy milk because you don't care about me, and all those things. And I was like, I should now go back to Japan because I don't know even why I came all the way to Kenya to get married to you, and all those things. But after some time, the children come along, and you can't keep talking like that because there are other priorities, and you have to make sure that this baby survives. So then I stopped that habit, and then the raising children when they're small is so hard. Sometimes you're not sleeping enough, and you are not really like on the same page. And the communication is a bit hard, but I think we were just kind of surviving it. And of course, having a job, because we were teaching in international school at that time, so it keeps your mind busy, and you don't really have time to talk about everything and iron it out. So it's like you're kind of hovering in the surface, and you just move on. And sometimes there are like external factors that challenge you, because in this international school in Nakuru, where we were working, the headmaster that was like a charismatic leader, and Nick respected him so much. He was so attached to him, and basically he was in that school because of him. Then suddenly this person, he just passed away, and he was just in good health, but one day we heard that he's no more. So after that, all the things have changed, and there was not much reason for us to stay there. And after that, the politics in school started crumbling down, and the salaries of teachers started going down. So when you renew the contract, your salary becomes less instead of going up for the years of service. So we were like, oh, it's high time we left. So there happened to be another vacancy in another school in Molo, and so we went there. We taught there for like 3 years, and it was good. We had the second child there and all that, and of course the work was very hectic. It's a boarding school, so it's really demanding. At night you're working, on Saturday, Sunday you're working, and lifestyle like that. And there's so much politics also, and it was like another level of politics. And so in my mind I was like, this is not really sustainable for the long run, because yeah, you are paid, and maybe the children like they get education and stuff package, so you feel like your life is secured or something. But it's not really possible to continue this lifestyle for the next 18 years to come until the children graduate. And so because basically you are paid, but you're in exchange with your life, because you are so tired working there and all that. So as we were thinking like that, and I think when the second born was about one day we got called to the headmaster's office, and the headmaster says, sorry, but your guys, your jobs are being advertised as of tomorrow or next week or something like that, and you are free to apply for it, but we can't promise you anything because we are restructuring the whole thing. So it was really out of the blue, and we didn't see it coming, because we had achieved so much in that music department, and the students were happy and parents were happy. So if you are called for some things that you have done wrong and you are being corrected and you're ignoring it, yeah, maybe one day your job can be advertised like that. But it was really like unexpected. And the hard part was it was Christian school, and how can you do this? And we are a very young family with a new baby, basically a newborn, and we dedicated ourselves to the service and all that. So there was that part where you feel angry, and yeah, the headmaster is like, can we quote for you Bible verses? Can we pray for you guys and all that? And we're like, no need to pray. It's okay. So as they said that, I already knew in my mind that we're not going to apply. I already knew that contract, because the moment you do that, now you are extending it, but you still don't know how long you're extending it for. And basically once that happens, next time, anytime, any other time, that can also happen. So basically you'll be always looking out for new jobs, because there's no job security. And anyway, the children can't complete education there for the next 15 years to come. It was difficult, and I really didn't see myself putting my children there in that school system either, for many reasons. So I told Nick, let's not apply, and since you have wanted to start your music school, I think this is the right time, because the children are still small, and it's a good time because it doesn't really cost much money for them. And so even if you don't make much money in the first years of self-employment, it's gonna be manageable. And if we just lead a modest life, and by that time we had built a house in Nakuru, so we're not paying rent, anything, and so that's what we did. I think Nick was finding it hard to not apply or not be employed, because it was like going to a new territory, or like out of his comfort zone. And of course, with two small babies, you feel, as a father, you feel the responsibility to provide for the family. So you can't be it's difficult for you to like go basically self-employment. So but we started that, and anyway, if it failed, you could also always look for another school for employment. So that's what we did in the first time. And the other colleagues were so shocked and scared for us that, because in that school not many people do that, and they don't know what's after that. So they try to really hang on to that job. So they tried to convince me, like, just apply, and I'm sure you can get it. And your children, they need education. If they're here, their future is secure. They'll get a good education, and you guys could get employment, all that. But once my mind was set, it was like, no, thank you for the concern, but I know what I'm doing. So, and that's how it was. And yeah, in the first years it was good. That was in 2017. We went to Nakuru and settled in our house and started our journey of running a Hikari School of Music. And because I would say it was one of the best years in my life so far, that I got to stay at home with two small kids, and Nick was out there working at his school, and everything was smooth. I didn't have to bother so much about what was going on in Hikari. There were people who were taking care of that, and everything was going well. The students started growing more. And then after that, 2020, COVID came, and then everything changed because we now had to close school, and there was no sign of schools reopening, so we had to quickly change everything to online lesson, and had to start thinking how to do online lesson, because we had never done it before. We had always taught face to face, and how to use Zoom. It was a new app at that time, and nobody really knew how to use it, or how to screen share and all those things. So it was just experimenting, and initially we started with like Japanese students. I told my friends back in Japan and my friends' friends, do you want to do trial lesson for free? And we have this and that and all those things, and people started coming one by one. And then I had to train the teachers at that time to to match the Japanese standards, how to use this online lesson, how should you dress, and how you should not be doing the lesson while you are driving in the car, and those things that seem obvious to me was not obvious to them. And you have to keep time for the lesson and all those things. So that's where the battle began between me and Nick, because I don't really know. I expected him to understand my point of view now that you have been married for like close to 10 years. Is it 10 years? Yeah. And he had been to Japan many times, but even though like he was a tourist, so it's like, you should know that people should keep time, and you should know that ABCD should happen if you're dealing with the Japanese students. But it was really difficult, because when he talks to the Kenyan teachers, it was like I'm the bad one, and it's like I'm the only serious one. So Yuka says this, but next time you just be careful. But really, it's nothing like a big deal, or that's how I took it. So there's always this gap between, how my ideals were and how the Kenyan teachers were behaving or teaching standards. And at that time, like, most of our students were Japanese, 100%, close to 100% at around that 2020, that time we started. So I was on the front line, managing the damage when they mess up, and all the clients complain to me, and I'm the one who has to deal with all those things, even though it's not my fault, and I'm doing my best not to repeat that mistake, but it's repeated, and it's out of my control. And I talk to Nick, and it's like he never gets it. So it was really difficult. And also at that time I started working in another project in Homa Bay in Beta. So that job was also quite
demanding. I'm learning new things, and there's a lot of pressure you're being put because it's now a Japanese organization that I'm working with, so their standards are very high, and sometimes it's unreasonable and all those things, and you're managing all these politics at work. Then come home to that, manage that hikari things, and all that, and it was really difficult. That was one of the hardest moments. And we tried marriage counseling, we tried consulting the relatives like Nick's sisters or brothers and friends, and it doesn't work. And then I was really frustrated and giving up hope at one point. And then after that, what happened? After we went to Beta, Beta life was also difficult because sometimes, most of the time you don't have a lot of electricity, or, the life condition is difficult there. And as I said, the job was demanding. And then we left Nakuru, so, friends and, are far away. Your familiar territory is far away and all that. But I enjoyed the experience because it was just, with my mind, I knew it's for a limited time, it's not forever situation. And I was just there to learn this new project. And when things got really, really hard and really, really unreasonable in my mind, we left after 2.5 years or so in Homa Bay. So we came back to Nakuru. So yeah, that's the challenges we had so far. And in all situations, I've seen like God closes one door and it's like in your face, because when Corona happened, I know it was really, really hard for Nick because Hikari was really picking up, and it was becoming really famous in Nakuru, and we were having many students before COVID. And he was even planning a USA trip, and we were getting into the details of doing the USA trip, but all those plans were cancelled, and every, progress that we made had been like, closed down and all that. So I think it was really one of the hardest part for him, much more so than for me. And so even, this job being advertised out of your control, it's hard, but it leads to a good things. Like in Romans 8:28, it says that all things works for our good for those who believe. So not all things are good, but all things will eventually work for good, even if it's a bad thing that happened. So that's what I am still learning, and I am I have seen in my life so far in the marriage.
This is the story of Yuka, a woman from Japan who moved to Kenya 15 years ago. She thought marriage would be simple, but life had other plans. From broken homes to marriage struggles, from demanding jobs to unexpected layoffs, Yuka and her husband Nick face challenges most people can't imagine. So what would you do if everything you depended on was taken away overnight? Would you crumble or would you rise? Yuka and Nick chose to rise, and today their story inspires thousands. Remember, when one door closes, it's just the beginning of a bigger journey. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that your hardest season is not your final chapter, subscribe right now so you never miss a story like this one. Hit that like button because it tells the world this kind of storytelling matters. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. A friend in a hard marriage, a person who just lost their job, someone standing at a closed door wondering what comes next. Drop a comment and tell us what closed door in your life turned out to be a blessing. We read every single one. And if you want to go deeper with this community, join our YouTube membership. There is a table here for people who believe that the hard things can become the best things. We would love for you to be part of it. This is Storybox. See you in next video.